A lot of times people are jealous of someone else in a higher position and they can't do the job they've been given well. I guarantee you the quickest way to the next position is to do the one that you're doing well.
Welcome to this edition of Excellent Living with Cheryl Martin. I'm Doris McMillan. Did you know God is concerned about you excelling on your job? During Cheryl's career as a national news anchor and host, she learned some principles along the way that helped her advance in her profession. Last week, we aired part 1 of the workshop Cheryl gave on the 7 habits of highly effective Christians in the marketplace. She told us the first habit is to seek God's will for your career. Second, see God in all things. And third, talk to God before you talk to men. She begins today with habit number 4. If you'd like to order this teaching on one CD, log on to excellentliving.org, that's excellentliving.org, and click on Resources. Now, here's Cheryl.
Number 4, bloom where you are planted. In other words, be content. No, God did not make a mistake. You are where you are supposed to be today. Contentment does not mean that you will be there for the next 10 years. What it does mean is, while I am here, until God moves me. This is not my preference. I see myself doing something more challenging. But in the meantime, I am going to be the very best and make the most of this opportunity right where I am. Again, look at Joseph. Every job he had, even though on the periphery it looks like they were menial jobs, he excelled. When he was a servant, he was the best. We represent Christ on our jobs. If you call yourself a Christian, you should be the best employee on your job. Because Colossians 3:17 says, and whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus. Whatever you do, Colossians 3:23 through 24, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for men, since you know you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. No, this may not be what I want, but because I serve God, I'm not working late to impress the boss here. It honors God when I do my work well. It is a reflection of my Christian testimony. When I get to work ahead of time, if I want to do all that before I get to work. Get to work at 8:30 so I will be ready to start work at 9, and don't be the first one bolting out of the door. That's what cracks me up. People work 9 to 5:30, they get in at 9:15 and leave at 5:25. Now they do know how to get all their stuff packed and ready to go at 5:30. But they cannot get there. Always an excuse. We do what we want to do. Now why would God bless me with more and I'm not doing the little? I love when I'm around people, and if they are receptionists, they are the best. I love it when I call a company, because that receptionist, she is a reflection of that company. I love it when a person you call, good morning, may I help you? Hold on, please. I say, wow, this must be a great company, because she has given me an idea of what the standards are of that company. I judge a lot of times a company based on the first person I hear. If I'm in a restaurant, if the server comes with a smile, if they take that job seriously and I don't have to ask them for water, someone else may think, oh, this is just a servant's job. Whatever God has called you to do, again, success is being in the will of God, no matter what it is. Jesus said, if you're faithful over little. A lot of times people are jealous of someone else in a higher position and they can't do the job they've been given well. I guarantee you the quickest way to the next position is to do the one that you're doing well. So our job every day should be, Lord, wake up in the morning. How can I do this job better? What can I do to distinguish myself in the job that I'm in? Can I clean my desk? Can I get to work 15 minutes earlier? Can I make sure I don't take an extra minute for lunch? What are the things that I can do to improve myself? Can I take a course? Can I go to someone in a position that I desire to be in and say, is it okay if I spend a little time with you just to find out what's involved in a position like yours? Nobody helped me. Did you ask? Nobody want to. I have found if you approach people in the right way, they will help you, but it has to be the right way. If you're calling someone and asking them to assist you, please say, is this a good time? People get an attitude. They call you and think you were waiting for their phone call, that you weren't doing anything else. She didn't want to help me. What did you think? She was maybe working under deadline. I would like to talk with you when it's an appropriate time. Would you have some time? Can I get on your schedule? Don't get upset if they're not able to right at that moment. And most people will. If you approach them in the right way, not a sense of entitlement. So we can say, Lord, give me an approach this person would have a desire to help me. It's God's job to open the next door. And when we're doing our job well, He will open those doors when we least expect it. Number 5, be confident. You know the reason why you can be confident? Because of who your God is. See, a lot of people feel like they lack confidence because they didn't go to college. They start looking at everything they're not. I don't have an education. I don't speak well. I don't know anybody. Nobody knows me. God knows you. And something the Lord gave me as an affirmation is this, and sometimes I say this in my car on the way to work. My color will in no way hinder me from getting what God has for me. My gender will in no way hinder me from getting what God has for me. My social status will in no way hinder me from getting what God has for me. My family background will not hinder me from getting what God has for me. How I look will not hinder me from getting what God has for me. See, the world stresses self-confidence. Our confidence should be God confidence. We should be the most confident women in the world. Not proudful. Confident, first of all, God decided you were going to look the way you look. He decided your color. He decided your height. He decided all of that. Again, why would God create me and then not give me everything that I need to accomplish His purpose? So I can't use as an excuse, you know, I'm just not smart. You are smart enough to do what God has called you to do. I didn't go to school. You can take one course somewhere if you really want to. Now, God has given us the basics. We look at ourselves and say, okay, what can I do? We cooperate with God. For example, I had a desire to be in broadcasting. Now, I didn't sit at home every day and say, you know, I really want to be on TV as I'm eating Twinkies and popcorn. I just really think I could do that. I had to do my part. God had given me certain ability, but what did I do? I feel this is what God is calling me to do. Let me go to school and learn as much as I can to prepare. Now, what did I do? My family didn't have the money, but we prayed. Talk to God before you talk to men. I did my part. I applied to the school I wanted to, that I was told was the best school. I watched God do the impossible. See, a lot of times we look at the impossible and then we stop. I do my part. God was not going to fill out the application for me. God will never do what we can do humanly. Jesus told them, you get the water pot. That they could do. He performed the miracle, turned it into wine. See, we want God to do the possible and impossible. No, that's being slothful. And the Bible says don't be slothful in business. If you say you're looking for a job and every day you pull the covers off, look outside, see that it's raining, the next day it's snowing, you do read the want ads, but that's as far as you get, you will never get a job. God is not going to have the person knock on your door. No, we do our part. He will direct our steps, but we have to get stepping. We should not confuse our role and God's role. You feel like God has called you to do something. It's your job to do everything humanly possible. I want to do this. Let me read books on this. No, I can't go to a 4-year school now, but I can take one course at a community college. It's a matter of priorities. But you have to be confident. The God I serve has put this dream in me. I believe it is of God. God is going to allow me to meet the people. The environment that I grew up in, God placed within me a desire. 2 wonderful godly parents. My father only went to 6th grade. My mother went to finish high school. Very smart woman. Their knowledge was limited. But in my heart, I desired to know certain things, to be exposed to certain things. I told God about that. And I have watched how over the course of years, God has brought women into my life, men into my life to help me become the person that He wants me to be. So we can't sit back and I don't know anybody. God knows. God knows who you need to know. Be confident in God. He has sent women around to help me with hair, makeup, fashion. I wasn't into all of that, but I need it for my job. God knows that. He's concerned about everything. It may not be what you're into, but if it's what you need, God is concerned about every little detail. Not I, but God, you're able. Number 6, check your attitudes and motives regularly, your A's and M's. You need to constantly have an attitude check. Ask yourself some very hard questions, and you may not like the answer. For example, why do I want this job so badly? Ask yourself, if in your spirit you're determined to have something, why do I want it? Why is it so important to me to get this raise? Why is it so important for them to call my name to make sure I'm recognized? Ask yourself, why is this important? See, God is always checking our attitudes and our motives. Why do I feel I deserve this? Why? It could indicate pride. Because first of all, if I'm going around saying I deserve it, I think that indicates I have a problem. When we are to be women of humility, why am I so consumed with this possibility? I can tell if something is just lodged in my mind, and I'm not at rest. I want this promotion, I want this position, I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't get it. That's a sign of trouble. When it's totally consuming me. Am I consumed with status? Do I want people to think higher of me than I am? Will it boost my ego? See, ask yourself. See, a lot of times people want things for the wrong reason. As a Christian, I should want that position because it will glorify God. Not because people will think that I'm important. Not because they will be impressed with me. It's because this is what God has chosen. Our improper attitude can be an impediment to getting God's best. Proverbs 16:2 says, all a man's ways seem innocent to him, but motives are weighed by the Lord. So ask yourself some hard questions. See, there was a time a couple of years ago on my job, and I felt like I deserved. Again, a problem when I use that word deserve. I'm talking to the Lord on the way to work. I feel like I'm not being utilized to my fullest potential, and I was going through all of this. And you can tell God anything. You can tell him exactly what you think. And when I quietened down, then I began to hear from the Lord. And the Lord spoke to me and said, and I don't know much about sports, but he brought this analogy. He said, if it is my will for you, he said, you know how there are certain players on the team, they're on the team, they wear the jersey, but they never get to play. They're not on the A team, they're on the B team. Now, they are a member of the team, but they're always in the dugout. They don't make as much money as the others, but they are on the team. And the Lord said to me, Cheryl, if it was my will before the foundation of the world that what you are doing now, you'd never do anything else. You never get a promotion. Be happy. Because that's what I called you to do. If you never, it was time for an attitude check. He put back in perspective, you are here to serve me. And if this is what I called you to do, this job, even though you believe you have the potential to do more, that's my job. It's the Lord Christ we are serving. Because when you stand before God, he will only ask you one question. Did you do what I called you to do? And that's all we can do. You know what I think about sometimes? I think about the disciples. God called 12. And you know what I think about? We don't know much about Nathaniel. Nobody talks about Bartholomew, Andrew. Matthew wrote a book. Mark wrote a book. Now, Apostle Paul was not one of the disciples, and he wrote more than any of them. Now, what if Nathaniel, do we slight Nathaniel? God didn't call him to write. God called all 12, right? And he called Apostle Paul later. God chooses the assignment. Psalm 16:5 says, you have assigned me my portion and my cup. God made the assignments before the foundation of the world. We didn't. Check attitude and motive. Nathaniel was still called, but God did not call him to write a book of the Bible. We don't know much of what he did. Everyone is not going to be in a showy position. This will help us if God has simply given us a gift of helps. No one ever calls your name in church. I was thinking about this conference. There were women putting the package together. They will not be up here, but this conference could not go on smoothly without the host and the hostesses. What if they were upset? They didn't call my name. I'm not doing that if they don't give me credit. Everything is running so smoothly. Why? Because people were doing the job that God called them to do. So ask yourself, why do I want this? Are my motives pure? Or is it I will be embarrassed and will wonder about what people will think if someone else got it and I didn't? Wrong motive. I pray all the time, Lord, purify my motives. If I sense pride developing, if I feel like I deserve something, Lord, forgive me. Purify my mind. Let me have an attitude of humility. Let me applaud others and their success, even if they eclipse me. It's not about that. You will get to where God wants you so much quicker with the right attitude. A lot of times we're in a holding pattern, bad attitude, wrong motive. In my heart, nobody can see my bad attitude but God. Humility is the quickest way. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of God, and He will lift you up in due time. I remember the last time I was up for a promotion, I was praying to the Lord, and at first I was so consumed. It was in my mind. And I remember 4 years ago, I said to the Lord, I said, you know what, Lord? I give this to you. And I said, I want your will to be done. If this position, I trust that if you want me to have either of these positions, I'm going to give it to you. I said, Lord, it's not about what I think I deserve more than anything else. I want to be in your will. And I said, Lord, I trust the outcome. I said, Lord, I want to have the right attitude that if I don't get either of these positions, my lips will not be poked out, and I'm going to help the person who gets it. Because I will see you in it. I will see that you are higher than man. And I said, Lord, I rest in you. I relinquish my will to your will. I want to make sure that my motive is right. And the peace of God came over me, and I forgot about it. Lord, whatever. If you just say, Lord, whatever you do is fine with me. And that's when I got the position that I'm currently in, hosting Lead Story. I had to leave that to the Lord. And every week I do that show, I say, Lord, you gave me this. You opened this door for your glory, not so I can say, I'm on TV. I know you prepared the way for me and gave me this. And finally, refuse to compromise God's principles. As you climb the ladder of success, purpose in your heart before you get there. Lord, I am going to be a woman of integrity. Daniel, in Daniel 1:8, purposed in his heart, he would not defile himself with the king's meat or the king's drink. This has been my standard, that no matter what everyone else is doing, as a woman, you don't have to sleep your way to the top. Amen. If you have to lie, cheat, and steal, it's not success God's way. You have to purpose in your heart, God, I refuse to compromise your principles, and I am trusting you that if you want me there, you will get me there without compromise. So in order for these habits to be effective in your life, seek God's will for your career, seek God in all things, talk to God before you talk to men, bloom where you are planted, be confident, check your attitudes and motives regularly, and then refuse to compromise God's principles. Remember, you need the combination of knowledge, the what and the why, the skill, the how, and then the desire, and then watch God put you exactly where He wants you to be.
You just heard former news anchor and moderator Cheryl Martin wrapping up her workshop presentation, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Christians in the Workplace. Cheryl is passionate about this topic because she experienced God's clear leading in her career pursuits and learned much along the way. She speaks on this subject often. If you would like a single CD of this talk to empower you in your career, just visit our website, excellentliving.org. That's excellentliving.org. Click on Resources and select 7 Habits of Highly Effective Christians in the Workplace. While there, you can sign up to receive our free quarterly online newsletter. It keeps you up to date on Excellent Living events and also includes inspiring articles. We know the value of praying about everything and worrying about nothing. If you'd like for us to pray with you about any request, large or small, just email prayer@excellentliving.org. That's prayer@excellentliving.org. Or you can call our prayer line at 832-766-1695. That's 832-766-1695. Our counselors love going to God on your behalf. Jesus said, all things are possible if you just believe. This program is a faith venture and is sustained each week by the financial donations of friends and listeners like you. If Excellent Living offers insights and inspiration for you to do life God's way, would you send a donation of any amount? It would be greatly appreciated. The address is Excellent Living, Post Office Box 15285, Chevy Chase, spelled Chevy, Chase, Maryland. Zip code 20825. That's P.O. Box 15285, Chevy Chase, Maryland 20825. You can also donate online, giving a one-time gift or signing up to give on a monthly basis. Just visit our secure website and click the Donate Now button on the homepage at excellentliving.org. That's excellentliving.org. Thanks in advance for showing your tangible support for this broadcast. Remember, Excellent Living is doing all of life God's way because it's the best way.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Martin. Are you ready to focus on being who God created you to be, to stop all the comparing and competing? In my latest book, Distinctly You, I empower you to thrive in your own uniqueness. In Distinctly You, I unveil the attitudes and actions that both block and build your distinction. I share from firsthand knowledge. So get your copy on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. It's time to be distinctly you.